Hey, what's up guys, this is Liam or Weagle on your Overwatch, back with a new video. Today we're going to be talking about Reinhardt, just about the only tank that I can play and definitely one of my favourite as well. Today we'll be talking about his applicability as well as a refresher course of how to use a lot of his abilities and talking a little bit about reading animations to hit pins, counter pins, different things like that. Now, we've done some Reinhardt videos before and I will link them on screen right now. You can go check them out if you want to, where we'll be talking specifically more about one piece of his equipment, but today we're going to go through a lot of the different things. So first thing to know, I will be playing at many different ranks in this video because I have bipolar SR. Now there will be probably diamond to GM footage you'll be watching, and everything that I say I'll try to accompany on screen. A lot of the things I'll be talking about today I don't even see GM Ryans do a lot of the time, so I really hope this helps you out. So we'll talk about his applicability first, and at the pro level people are saying that you may as well have an Orisa in a lot of situations unless you couple your Reinhardt with a Zarya, but in matchmaking them rules don't necessarily apply, and Ryan's played quite a lot at the minute, and if you play him well and you figure out the mind games, then you're going to want to be picking him. Now if the enemy team are just spamming Junkrat at you and a soldier on the high ground shooting your shield and you never have your shield, then you probably want to go Orisa or a different tank. But if you manage to keep your shield up more than the other enemy Ryan, hit a couple more pins and figure out how to read animations and hit some earth shatters, he can still be really devastating in the matchmaking meta. Now most people say to me in game when we ask for a Reinhardt, they say I can't play Reinhardt, and a lot of people really know where they're struggling with him. So the first thing is actually shield management, and people don't understand sometimes when it is and isn't okay to be using your shield, but also when to use yourself as the shield. This is really important because if the enemy team also has a Ryan, you're often going to find yourself in a shield break situation. If one Reinhardt just has his shield up all the time and the other one is dropping it and regenning it, or even just dropping it to take damage with his face, that Reinhardt will win the shield battle. When that other enemy shield is broken, it's much easier for your team to get pick-off kills, for Junkrat spam to do even more damage to get the right frags that it needs to. So this is actually a really simple tactic. So the first one is don't have your shield up if your team aren't around. That's pretty obvious, but if you're not actually in a team fight and the enemy are trying to just poke you through the choke, just literally sit around a corner and don't have your shield up. When you're actually engaging in a fight, the trick is to take some damage with your shield and then drop it. Take some damage, you know, just enough that isn't too risky, because you don't want to get picked off and die. That's like worst case scenario. And then you can put your shield back up when it's regened just like a little bit, and then you can drop it down again. Of course, this will charge enemy ults a little bit, but it also charges your healer's ults, and there's going to be an ult exchange at some point. So being able to have your shield when it really matters is the biggest mistake people make. And this is a really simple way to do this. Just keep dropping it, jumping back, jumping forward, and then taking some face, tanking when you need to. I think the next most important thing is Ryan's Earth Shatter. Now this is still a little bit buggy, but Ryan's Earth Shatter is important to win team fights outright if you land it on the right targets and at the right times. So how do you actually dodge an Earth Shatter is the first thing people are going to want to know. Well, you need to have your shield up for starters. You need to be able to read the animation of when this is coming and also know what the likeliness of their Ryan having Earth Shatter is. So there's two ways to tell this. One is to keep a mental note of how many fire strikes he has thrown and how many targets you think he has hit. If he's hit about 8 to 10 targets over the last minute and a half, chances are he does have his Earth Shatter. And the other thing is a really obvious animation, and that's him just coming at you and swinging. If you can see that he's swinging, trying to bait you out, it's because he's trying to get you to go for a pin. He's trying to get you to either swing back or throw your own fire strike. The reason people do this is so they can get the Earth Shatter off and catch you off guard. So these mind games are really important. And actually, if someone's baiting you out by just meleeing, you don't usually have time to hit your hammer down before they can cancel that animation by bringing up their shield. The only surefire way to do this actually is to see them do a fire strike, and when you know their new fire strike is about to come off cooldown, you know they'll throw it again. If you hit that hammer down as that fire strike starts going off, you will connect with the the hammer most of the time. This is one of the easiest ways to get this out. Now the mind games, in terms of you're both got Earth Shatter, you're both swinging at each other trying to find that opening, this again is all personal practice, preference, how good you get at the hero. You need to be able to duke out the enemy when they have their Earth Shatter. Blocking Earth Shatter is huge, and sometimes you can block it and you still die anyway, that does happen, but generally a lot of them bugs are fixed. Very similar to when Zarya is getting in your face, when it's so obvious she has her ultimate, it's obvious she's looking for it, that's when you need to be careful, and you also start swinging yourself and you make sure you swing, cancel that animation, and bring your shield back up. Now, one other tip I'll give you about Earth Shatter, guys, is that if you are in a fight, you can walk past an enemy Rein to Earth Shatter him. In fact, if you're up in front of him and you Earth Shatter, you can shatter behind his shield, which will often get his team and sometimes even him himself. Now, talking about mind games and animation reading, the next thing's really important for this, and this is actually hitting pins with Reinhardt. Now, I don't have tons of footage for this, and some of the footage is even it happening to me. But the best time for you to hit a pin is when an enemy is about to change their direction so that you can hit that pin and they are at a movement disadvantage. If someone's moving to one side and then they start going the other way, that's when you want to land your pin. The reason this is important is because if you just pin at someone that's at full speed, the chances are they can jump out the way and dodge you. You have to catch them at a point in their animation where they're at their slowest. Now, this can happen differently for, of course, a lot of different heroes. Some heroes, like if they're coming out of Ice Freeze, if it's Mei, then you can time that pin and hit it because the speed momentum she has when she comes out of it is so difficult for her to get out of the way. You can actually time that pretty lazily and hit that pin. If you're trying to pin another Reinhardt, oftentimes you'll be duking each other out, moving left and right, left and right, left and right, and eventually someone's going to hit a pin, and the one that does probably wins the team fight. As they go left and go right again, that's when you pin. You can see this happening to me really well, where the enemy Rein dedicates to a pin just as I go to change my momentum, and it's just ripped. There's no way I can get the way out of this pin. This is about the most important tip I can give you, and again, of course, practice is important. Use Reinhardt, but you can actually pay attention to this, and FREEDO even did a video on this channel about reading animations with Widowmaker too. If you see someone jump up at the apex, you can actually more reliably hit a headshot. He did an entire video on that you guys can check out, and it's the same for every hero in the game. Being able to find the perfect animation spot to give you the best percentage chance to hit the thing that you want to hit, and pin is no different to this. The final thing is Fire Strike. It's a projectile, you throw it. It's not got a lot of basis for tips I can give you behind it, but some things I can definitely tell you guys is if you're throwing Fire Strikes and they have a Zarya, duke out the Zarya. You can actually throw a Fire Strike at a Zarya, but as she goes to bubble, because she knows when it's coming, she knows that when you drop your shield, she can bubble because you're throwing a Fire Strike. Well, if you throw that Fire Strike off to the side, oftentimes she'll waste her bubble. You don't get any charge for it, but it will duke out the Zarya's bubble. She gets no charge, and when Zarya has no charge, they might as well not have a 6th character. So, really easy duke battle you can have there. Trying to throw your Fire Strike to hit enemy Reins and stuff to charge your own ultimate, of course, is the ultimate goal. One tip I will give you though, if you cannot avoid a Fire Strike coming your way, drop your shield. That way it won't do damage to your shield, and you'll be able to put it back up with that extra 100 health that you probably will need because Junkrat's likely in the game. Now that's just about everything, guys. Just a bit of a refresher course. Hopefully it can give you guys some tips because I know people really struggle with Reinhardt. Applicability is important. If you're on attack Numbani and you can't make the high ground because there's a Junkrat, there's not much point in taking a Reinhardt in that situation. If you're trying to play on defense, you don't have a lot of healing or many tanks, and the enemy is spamming Hanzo shots at you, and Junkrat again Rein's not really the pick. But if you have a Zarya on your team and you're looking to brawl, then Reinhardt is amazing for deathmatch with these tips. The mind games are very important. He is 90%, I would say, a game sense hero and really not that mechanically demanding. If there's anything you missed though, guys, be sure to let me know in the comments. I always like to see new tips that you guys have for us, and also people in our comments would like to see other tips that they can get better in their Reinhardt game. Be sure to drop a like, because it really does help us out and it lets us know you're enjoying the content. Be sure to hit that bell icon so you get notified when our videos go live. Be sure to have a great day as always. Take care and peace, people.